Thank you, Soror. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Dion Johnson, licensed clinical and forensic psychologist. I am also the chair of the Mental Health Committee of Alpha Beta Gamma Omega chapter. Today, we're going to spend a few moments talking about setting boundaries and managing goals. But we're going to put a little spin on it today. I want us to focus on setting boundaries with ourselves and keeping our word to ourselves. Because so often when we think about boundaries and managing goals, especially for us as women, a lot of times the boundaries we think about focus outward because so many of us have so many numerous aspects of our lives that we're functioning and moving between at any given moment, 24/7, as wives, partners, mothers, business women, daughters, sisters, BFFs, sorors, church members. There are so many aspects of our lives where we focus outward. But today, I want us to kind of flip that narrative on its head, and I want us to think about what that means to focus inward and learning how to set boundaries and keep our word to ourselves and managing and working toward our goals. So we're going to spend a few moments considering how we can set necessary boundaries with ourselves and helping us to be more focused and effective in accomplishing the things that we set our efforts toward. Here are three things to keep in mind in setting boundaries and in managing goals. The first is be clear about what is in your hand to control. In other words, what is in your hand to control is communicating and setting your intentions with yourself. The onus is yours. You and I have got to learn how to maintain and take better ownership over what it is that we want and in expressing that to others. But here's the thing. Once you communicate and express your expectations or what it is you desire of others, the hardest thing to do is the main thing to do, and that is to let it go. It can be so easy and so tempting to want to control how others meet our expectations. But you and I have got to learn how to more consistently let it go and respond accordingly. What's in your hand to control is taking ownership over what it is you want and, when necessary, articulating those needs, those desires to others. But once you express those needs and desires to others, you've got to learn how to let it go. The second thing to keep in mind in setting boundaries and in managing goals is being consistent. You and I have got to learn how to be more consistent with ourselves. One of my favorite thinkers, business leaders, I guess you could call him a motivational speaker, is Jim Rohn. He's dead now and gone on to glory, but Mr. Rohn, he was so clear in this concept of learning how to set boundaries with yourself, with ourselves. And one of the main things that Mr. Rohn said, accomplishing your goals and setting boundaries is not really about other people. It's about us learning how to be more consistent with ourselves. And how do we do that? You and I have got to learn how to get better at keeping our commitments to ourselves. So often we will berate and grind ourselves to the ground endlessly when we feel like we've let other people down, when we feel like we have not kept our word or our commitments to others. But what about the things that we say to ourselves? What about honoring and really prioritizing our word and our commitments to ourselves about what it is we say we want, what it is we say we want to do, and working toward those things. No matter how big or how small the goal or the intention is. Consistency is a key part of setting boundaries here for ourselves. Every time you and I set a goal and we keep it, self-confidence builds. But I contend that the reverse is true. Every time you and I set a goal with ourselves and we don't keep it, a little bit of our self-confidence begins to kind of chip away, self-esteem even. And then maybe before we know it, doubt creeps in. A little bit of depression can creep in, feeling like we're failures or not good at anything. So I really want to stress this point here. You and I have got to learn how to be consistent and keeping our words and commitments that we make to ourselves a priority. And the last piece of setting boundaries and maintaining goals for ourselves, this is an interesting one. And I'm going to say this statement. No is a complete sentence. I'll say that again. No is a complete sentence. In other words, I want to encourage you to be careful if you feel like you have to diminish your voice, or if you find yourself diminishing or apologizing for how you're feeling to others, and recognizing your limitations and feeling like you have to apologize or make excuses for why you're not able to do certain things. It is so important to learn how to be okay saying no and not apologizing for our limits and boundaries. You and I have a certain number of emotional, physical, psychological resources throughout the day. You and I will never be able to be consistent and learning how to set our intention, set our goal, and work toward it, and learning how to communicate our expectations to others if we do not master this concept. Now, there are times where sometimes we do need to provide an explanation for why we are not able to do things. And I'm not saying that those instances, those situations don't come up. But there are also times where our no should stand and has to learn how to stand on its own. If for nothing else, for our own peace of mind and for us, each of us, to learn how to be okay with saying, you know what, I'm at my capacity right now. This is something that I just can't do at this moment. I'll let you know. And I'm going to close this out, no as a complete sentence, with an example. I've been working a lot with business women, executives on Wall Street, Fortune 500 business leaders and thought leaders, boardroom level leaders. And several of them have been coming to me struggling with learning how to let their no be a complete sentence. And this is a paradigm and an example that I use with them that I want to offer up to you as we close and learning how to set necessary boundaries and working toward our goals with ourselves. And I share with them some of our major business leaders, corporate leaders, giants in industry, Elon Musk, Oprah Winfrey, Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett. I share with them Richard Branson. They have mastered the art of saying no. Because as you start off in your career, the field is wide. But let's think about a funnel. The higher you go up the funnel, it narrows and narrows, meaning that a lot of other things have to fall off, meaning that The higher you go and the more precise and focused and targeted you become on your goals, there are going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to learn how to say no to and learn how to be okay with saying no, knowing that as your responsibilities increase, as your vision gets more precise, as your responsibility, the gravity of what it is you are called and gifted to do, you cannot be as distracted with so many other things. You've got to learn how to communicate your expectations, let other people in place do their part, and learn that as you go higher and higher, your no is going to have to be a complete sentence. Because in doing that, that helps you to be more eagle-eyed and more precise and consistent and setting your intention toward what it is you want and learning how to not let anything get in the way of that. These business leaders, these corporate giants, they have people in place as they go higher and higher for them to manage things so that their focus, their thinking can be more precise. And as I share that with a lot of my women, that comes around and that helps us deal with the self-esteem, some of the issues related to self-esteem, self-doubt, feeling like, you're going to let other people down. Be careful diminishing your voice and apologizing for your no and making room for other people at the expense of finding that there's little room for your own voice and what it is you want to do. Thank you for your time. Those are my 3 tips for how we learn how to set boundaries with ourselves and working toward and managing our goals. It's okay, and it's time for us to learn how to be more consistent in keeping our words and honoring our commitments to ourselves.
Thank you so much, Soror. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another Wellness Wednesday. We are super, super, super excited to have you here. My name is Destiny, and I am the owner of Heal You, a therapeutic private practice, and I am a proud member of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Alpha Beta Gamma Omega chapter. Today, we are just going to set intention and bring ourselves to this moment. This moment is for you. This moment is for you to calm your mind, to reduce your stress, and to just relax for a second. So let's go ahead and get into a comfortable position. That can be standing, you can be seated, whatever works for you. If you have space to lay down, you can do that too. The primary goal is to have our heads over our hearts over our bellies, and our bellies over our pelvic bone. You're just creating space to breathe. Now, if you'd like to close your eyes, that's completely okay, or fall into a soft gaze, whatever works for you. Today, we are going to simply breathe and bring ourselves to this present moment. Now, we are going to pair our breathing with affirmations. So today, our affirmations will focus on intention. I am intentional. Deep breath in and exhale. I am worthy of this moment of peace. Deep breath in and exhale. I am happy to be in this space. Deep breath in and exhale.